He designed some of the most beautiful homes in California at a time when race dictated where he could build a home of his own. On this weekend, we mark Juneteenth. Mark Whitaker remembers trailblazing architect Paul Revere Williams.
When John Sweeney spotted his dream home, all its realtor had to do was drop a name.
She said that this is a Paul Williams house. Do you know who Paul Williams is? Of course, I knew who Paul Williams was, but I feigned ignorance. I didn't want to show any sign that I knew him, that I was extremely excited and that I wanted this house very, very badly. But trust me, there were 1,000 little boys on Christmas morning jumping around inside of me.
Take a tour with John and his wife Cheryl.
The gold leaf
Oh,
ceiling.
the gold leaf, wow.
And you'll see why a home designed by Paul Revere Williams is something to cherish.
The house itself is a piece of art.
Mm-hmm.
As you've looked around the house, you'll see that we are collectors of African American art, and our biggest showpiece is the house itself.
In Los Angeles, Williams homes, known for their grace and elegance, are a hot commodity, with one recently selling for $61 million.
This is the crescent wing. The iconic logo of the Beverly Hills is actually his handwriting.
Wow.
Karen Hudson is Williams' granddaughter, and she's proud to show off perhaps his most glamorous achievement, the crescent wing of the famed Beverly Hills Hotel. Its distinctive entrance, the color scheme, and curves all remain as he designed them.
It is just as iconic and just as classic as it was then. At a time when he could not stay here, he could not eat here.
As described in Hudson's 2 books on his life, when Williams was born in 1894, a 6-decade career in architecture hardly seemed likely.
Orphaned before the age of 4, he was raised by a loving foster mother who believed he could do anything. Teachers were very clear you should not be an architect because white people won't hire you, black people can't afford you, and he persevered. He just believed that was what he was here to do, and that's what he was going to do.
In the 1920s, Williams' talent as a young architect met good luck. Through a series of improbable connections, he was hired to design one showcase home after another. His career was launched within the realities of the time.
It was not appropriate for him to sit next to his white clients, particularly not a white woman, and so he learned to draw upside down.
Upside down.
Upside down. So if I said, Mark, do you want a big kitchen? He would just upside down start drawing it and sketching it in front of you.
That's also a wow.
That's a wow.
That he could do that.
That's a wow.
It was a performance that caught the eye of Hollywood. Soon he was designing homes for stars like Lon Chaney, Barbara Stanwyck, and Lucy and Desi.
All it takes is one party. You go to a party and say, who was your architect?
They could see his creativity.
They could see his creativity, they could appreciate it, and they could show off.
Frank Sinatra showed off his Paul R. Williams home on CBS to Edward R. Murrow.
Tell me, Frank, what room are we in now?
Well, this is the combination dressing room, Ed, and bedroom with my unique-looking fireplace with the Chinese red. I'm sorry you can't see the colors.
As for Williams' own home, for the first 3 decades of his career, he lived here with his wife and 2 daughters in a house currently being restored.
He was living on the same block as people who worked on the bus or people who worked in people's homes.
At the time, this LA neighborhood was effectively segregated, and he wrote about it in a 1937 magazine essay called I Am a Negro.
What he said was, today I designed a home in one of the most beautiful vistas in the country, a home that I could afford, but I come home to my relatively inexpensive, modest home because I'm a Negro.
I call him the Michael Jordan of African American architects.
Roland Wiley is an LA architect and something of a Williams superfan.
He had this rare combination of talent, personality, vision,
and a commitment, Wiley says, to more than just his white clients.
He was quietly doing all of his community work. He was quietly helping to build banks. He was very much interested in uplifting our race of African Americans.
Didn't he also design affordable housing?
He designed small houses, affordable houses.
In all, Williams, who died in 1980, designed some 3,000 buildings, and he was the first black member of the American Institute of Architects. Today, African American membership hovers at just 2%.
His God-given talent allowed him to transcend that, and that's what I think.
But with all the talent in the world, you still have to get up the next day and go back out there, try to make it in a world where people don't expect someone like you to make it.
But that's what's fascinating about it, that he did that.
After John and Cheryl Sweeney bought their 1927 home, John, a veteran civil rights attorney, found the original covenant.
None of the real estate herein described shall be sold, conveyed, leased, or rented to or occupied by any person other than that of the Caucasian race.
This house was designed not for an African American, not for an Asian American or Latino American or Caucasian American. It was designed for a person who appreciates fine things, and that's the story this house tells. This is the sun porch.
To ensure that Williams' legacy endures, the Sweeneys worked to have their home declared a LA Historic Cultural Monument. This house is now legally protected.
It is now legally protected. This is Mr. Williams' vision, and it won't be disturbed.
A fitting tribute for the master architect with a groundbreaking life.